Bill, the housing market is in trouble. I know me and you disagree on this 100%. Okay? You just think it's a correction or a cooling off period, and I think that we're heading into some problems here in Florida. Okay?
We'll see.
And like everybody, what I want to talk about in this video is like everybody says, oh yeah, it's just a correction, a mild correction, but things will, once rates go down, because now they're talking about rates going down.
Exactly.
That everything is going to pop up and everything's going to be great. And
well, what's great though? I mean,
unicorns flying around.
Yeah, I think that when we say great and amazing, I think that's a little overstated, but
the worst thing that happened in Florida, and let's talk about COVID, okay? Just really quick. It was horrible that happened, worldwide and everything.
Right.
People died and all that. But I'm talking about a different thing that happened because of COVID. So many people moved to Florida because we were pretty much open. Come on, we weren't really locked down here.
No, not really.
Okay, we weren't locked down.
Not like other areas of the country that were extremely restricted. We had it pretty good here. And
things started booming. People's property values have jumped up 45% in some areas. Money came in, and construction. We're at a build center right now. They're building thousands of homes, and everything. Restaurants were packed. That was the worst thing, in my opinion, that happened to Florida. Other than obviously the disease. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about
but this is a real estate related.
Yeah, real estate related.
We're not just saying during the COVID time.
I think everybody moving to Florida, and the population growing dramatically, and prices going up by houses dramatically, and all this new money coming in, and people building houses 8 feet apart from each other, not just to fit everybody in.
Oh God.
I won't go there.
Let it go.
But it was the worst thing that happened.
Look, anytime, and I've said it time and time again on this channel, I've said it on my channel, anytime you have that hockey stick straight up and then you have issue, that's bad. We never want, big ups, big downs. We need steady, gradual growth. Anytime you have these giant spikes out of nowhere, it's always painful on the other side of that spike.
So we got to talk about where I think the housing market is going in Florida. And let's talk about some stats that's happening. Okay, and then you can put in your opinion. In the meantime, if you like this kind of content, consider subscribing. It really does help out the channel. It's really motivational for us. And if you need a real estate agent anywhere in Tampa or Florida or national, my phone number is below, and there's a link below. You can just click on it. So, Bill, let's talk about this, okay? After the pandemic, Florida housing, cooled. It did after the pandemic, okay? March 2025, statewide median home prices dropped 1.7% year over year. So now we start. You're like, well, what's 1.7?
1%, right?
Okay, and you're going to go there. In Jacksonville, hit 3.8%.
And I know where we went. I know where we went overall. I know where you're going with this.
Okay, condo and co-op prices fell. 60.
Well, condo's a whole different animal.
So, basically, everywhere, like 63.2% of places all over Florida markets have dropped in prices.
Correct, as we would have expected. Because what goes up, how's that? Comes down.
Okay, demand is dropping. Okay, you agree with that,
Oh,
all right?
yeah,
inventory. Okay, we're going to look at the numbers, and go ahead. You can fight the numbers. Inventory is growing. June 2025, we saw 226,000 homes for sale, up 11.8% according to Redfin.
Okay.
That's a lot. Ramsey Solution reports between June 2024 and June 2025, the median sale price dropped around from 427,000 to 412,734, while inventory jumped 24.2. So now prices of homes are going down,
right,
and inventory is going up.
Right, because the houses are sitting on the market longer. Right, so we should be at what, around 43 days, depending on which stat you're at. 43 days on market.
Bill, one of the biggest issues that we're having, and that's why I think things are just going to get worse in Florida until they resolve this problem, is the insurance issue. The insurance, I've seen deal after deal after deal die because of insurance.
Yes. it's extremely important, and I tell every customer in the very, very beginning, it never was really a big thing before. People took their time, go shop insurance, things like that, but now it's absolutely on the forefront. And I tell almost all my customers, listen, what's your threshold and tolerance for being in a flood zone, right? Because insurance is a big issue. And if you're on the coast or you're near a body of water or just anywhere that is a flood zone, you're going to pay a super high premium.
Right now, as of, by 2023, average premiums were $6,000, the average in Florida, triple the national average. But don't you think that in order for Florida to stop this pain of home ownership, they have to solve the insurance problem once and for all?
Well, we got a lot of issues that we need to solve to fix the pain of home ownership right now because of the things that we discussed with the spike and whatnot. But hopefully, the more here's the other thing too. Florida has always had crazy, weird insurance. This is not anything new. This is since I grew up here.
Yeah, but don't you think now because of the pandemic and everybody moving in here, and now we're more condensed in the area when there's a storm, a lot more damage not because the storms are worse, but more people are crammed into a smaller area.
Yeah, and look where we're at right now. What was this? Look at all these trees that they've taken out. This used to be where water could go here, right?
Right.
Now we're replacing it with asphalt and buildings.
Yeah.
And retention ponds. And when those overfill, when we have storms, then there's nowhere for the water to go. Like when we get oversaturated, there's nowhere for the water to go. I mean, that could be a whole other video in and of itself. But when we start doing these things, yes, is mitigation better now? Are these swift mud plans better now? Absolutely in the drainage. But at the end of the day, look at what happened.
Yeah.
All the plans, all the best laid plans in the world.
Like Sarasota, they were inland and they had major flooding, and they never got flooded before.
Wesley Chapel had major flooding. It's 48 miles away from the coast. But what happened? All the marshes overflowed into the rivers crested, and that took days for that to happen because the runoff finally filled into the marshes. The marshes overflowed, which flowed into the rivers, and then the rivers overcrested. It's crazy.
I agree with you. Okay.
Just stay away from the flood zones if that's a major issue and you're trying to save money.
So that's your biggest advice. If you're buying a house, one of the pains of buying a house is insurance. Don't even bother looking at houses in flood zones.
I wouldn't say I would take you away from those, but I'm advising people that when they come here, and a lot of people don't understand, especially if you're a first-time buyer, you don't understand, because you've never experienced it. You've never purchased a home before, or you're coming in from another state. People that come in from other states, they don't understand Florida. They really don't in the insurance market realm, and we have a conversation about that because it is important. So just understand that to save money, you could stay out of a flood zone, and that would save significant finances.
Bill, I know you don't group this stuff in with the regular housing, but I just want to touch on it, okay? Mm-hmm. Because we have to talk about the condo market, even if it's short. Condo prices are tanking. 92% of Florida housing market, 92% of Florida's housing market, condos are down. It's crazy what's happening. And right now, the solution to bring them back up, they're trying to put new solutions, new laws, get a credit line or do this or do that, but they're all Band-Aids.
Right. So what Jimmy's alluding to here is that with the credit lines and stuff. So because of the Champlain Tower tragedy, the state came in and made a lot of laws and rules around things for maintenance and such with these condos. Conversely, what ended up happening, in short, is that you had to have certain engineering inspections for buildings that are on the coast in a certain number of years old and 3 stories or above. So, but that was 5 years, and then where this is coming up again is we just hit our 5-year mark. So, but what's really hurt the condo market is the assessments to keep funding, because they had to fix all this stuff. This deferred maintenance, and then they had to fund the reserves so that they had money for the new roof, the new structural stuff, the new elevators, things of that nature, that they weren't necessarily expecting that they had to do right away in that 5-year period. So assessments in HOA and condo dues went through the roof, like
crazy,
$1,000 a month through the roof type thing, and that's huge. So how many people could afford going from like $350, $400 to $1,000, $1,200 and more in some areas.
A lot of people could, because a lot of people that are in condos were fixed income.
Right, so you can't. So now what's happened is the governor realizes what happened with the law and the position that it put people in, and then you add that on top of all the other stuff that we've talked about, and insurance for condos has gone up too, because they're on the coast. And even if you're not on the coast, the condo insurance went through the roof. So they're trying to fix that and saying that you can take out a line of credit so you don't have to assess people. But there is a little hope there still, because once they're funded, they're funded. So hopefully they should start weaning back the assessment or the monthly fees back to normal.
Okay, according to MarketWatch, okay, rise in delinquency and economic stress. FHA-backed borrowers, typically first-time buyers, are showing signs of strain. 40% of mortgage payments in quarter 2 of 2025 have indications of could be in trouble in the future. So like,
what's that mean?
So basically they're saying that more and more people are being late on their mortgage. You know, so like overall, if you say, okay, 100% of the people, because I read more into it, okay, oh yeah, nobody has a problem with their making their payments, but now 42%, I'm not saying they're behind or they're delinquent, but they're like, yeah, I can get in trouble really fast with this payment. So they think that a lot of people are just going to be late on their mortgage payments.
So there's, just so I'm understanding, they're speculating that there's a potential because of the rise of people that are
the rise of cost of everything. HOA,
they're speculating
insurance,
that. Okay, gotcha.
That people, you know, 42% of people could see themselves in trouble.
Because sometimes people are living paycheck to paycheck, and there's just one flat tire, one car problem, you know, one injury, one illness that puts them into the position where that they can't afford their mortgage payment.
Oh yeah, okay. I mean it's a crazy situation.
Yep.
Investors are slowing down too. Institutional investors' purchases dropped 6.8%.
Oh yeah.
To 6% year over year from quarter 1 of 2025. And Miami metro rate drops from 4.8 to 4.5. So there's like investors are like, oh, let me see what's happening here.
Yeah.
You agree with that?
Yeah. The investments, they've dried up. They're very cautious. They've moved into some other markets. And if you're thinking that they're going to come in and buy an investment condo, that's very difficult.
Then another problem that's happening with the existing housing market is places like this. Okay, now it's becoming, believe it or not, on paper at least, some of these new builds over here are actually cheaper than existing homes. So what are people going to do? They're like, I'm getting a brand new house, less money per square footage.
Correct.
A warranty, and probably a better mortgage rate. Because
there's incentives here. So sometimes the builders can give you incentives, or to incentivize you to purchase, they're offering to do a rate buy down for you, and the builders buy bulk mortgages. Rates. So they get a better deal because they're buying everything in bulk. And then they can pass that savings along to you as an incentive to purchase.
Listen, at the end of the day, you have to live someplace, you have to live someplace. And at the end of the day, people are still going to be moving to Florida, not as much as before, but people will still be moving here. I mean, we still have the beautiful weather, other than it's freaking 95 degrees right now.
We do have a cloud, thankfully.
But my point is, we are in trouble. Like I always said, if Florida could solve the insurance problem and the property tax problem, and obviously the government of the state of Florida is aware of the tax problem and they're aware of the insurance problem.
Yep.
Okay? But there's no simple solution. If there was, they would have fixed it already.
Right. Those are things that we don't have necessarily total control over. We can only control that a little bit, so that's why I say, you know, if you're tight, stay out of flood zones. It should be a consideration for you.
Here's my opinion on what you guys should do. If you're looking for a house, okay, especially in Florida, I have a link below, I have a phone number below. You don't have to call me, or like, I have some really good real estate. So get on a what's called a drip campaign. I'm being straightforward with you. If you want new construction or a new neighborhood, even if you're not planning to buy now, get the data delivered. How often does that data get delivered to them? Once a month?
Yeah, you can get it once a month. You can bump it up to once every 2 weeks, but once a month will be plenty.
Yeah, so once a month. So at least you'll have an idea of what's happening in this market. Say you are thinking about buying a house, and say, I'll just pick Wesley Chapel where you are, okay? Now, you know, just you'll every once a month, you'll see what's going on with the market there. Do you give like stats? Like, okay, this is what's happening.
Yeah, basic stuff. Yeah, basic
prices
stuff.
drop, prices are going up.
Yeah.
You know.
It's called a market watch is what we're doing.
The key, I know this sounds like a sales pitch, but it's really, really not. The key to buying smart, in my opinion, because I deal with, literally, I did the thousands of inspections. I dealt with buyers and sellers. The key is education. You really, really have to be educated on what you want to do. And it's not like you get educated like overnight. It might take you a month, 2 months, 6 months to really know what's going on with the market, because it changes every week. Like right now, if they cut rates and say mortgage rates drop from 6.5 to 5.5, what do you think is going to happen with the price of these houses? They're going to go
back up again. Yeah. And then the incentives are going to be gone because they don't need them.
And that's what my point is just set yourself up that the information that you need to make an educational decision is delivered right to your inbox. I'm telling you, it makes a big, big difference. Like, I'm looking at some areas that I want to buy some investment properties. I'm getting the information. One place it's in Georgia. It's not like I drive there, but every month I get what's going on.
You get a newsletter.
I get a newsletter saying this is what's happening, this is the stats, these are the prices, you know, this is what went up for sale, and this is what's sold. That stuff was gold to me.
Yep.
Because of that information, I decided not to buy in that particular area because of that information. But otherwise, what would I do? Call a real estate agent, call somebody, or look at, you know, Realtor.com or Zillow.com that just wants to sell you a house? You know, come on, just stay educated. Anyways, overall, my opinion is we need to solve these things. I think that the market, you can still make good decisions. You can still buy a good house at a good price, but you have to be smart about it. Otherwise, if you just wait for everything to be good, you might be waiting 2 or 3 years. What's your opinion?
Timing the market is never a strategy. Oh, I'm going to wait till this happens or that happens. If you need to move, you need to move, right? That's life. If you're saying like, hey, I can't afford to purchase a house, which a lot of people can't.
No.
That's why you make a plan. Just because you can't today afford it. Like, hey, listen, 7% or 6.5%, whatever the interest rate is for you with your creditworthiness, et cetera. Hey, maybe you need to polish up a few things at home, or maybe you need to wait till the Fed cuts the rates. If you're waiting until like the 3% again, that's the likelihood of that happening is pretty much null. But waiting till things stabilize. But then remember, and this happened to somebody that I know, they thought that overpaying for the house, an extra 20 grand to win the bid, but they would have made, because I know the person that ended up purchasing the house as well, but they ended up making more money. But it's a gamble. They were trying to time the market. They didn't want to do that because the home's equity went up. Right now, it might not be the right time for you if you're not comfortable. At the end of the day, you have to be comfortable purchasing a home. That's what's most important, really, at the end of the day, no matter what.
I agree with you 100%.
You really have to be comfortable and make sure you can afford the house.
But that's what it all comes back to education.
Education. It costs nothing to have education. It costs nothing to have a conversation and lay out a plan for yourself. For you, that's right for you and your family. You've heard me say this if you've seen it on my channel. I know I've said it with us here on this channel. And it's true. You have to lay out a plan. A conversation is not a poison pill. You're just investigating. This isn't like you're buying a car. You're buying a house. This is a huge investment, and it shouldn't be just a, hey, I'm going to go out and do it today. Be prepared. I would bet most of my clients, truthfully, prepared.
Yeah.
Not even with me. It doesn't matter. They just knew. They were like, okay, we're ready to buy a house.
Like Wayne, you know, Wayne, he was on the channel too before. Like, he worked with these people for 2 years.
Yeah, absolutely.
But they just closed. Anyways, that's today's video. Again, consider subscribing. It really does help out the channel. It's greatly appreciated. Remember, real estate agent anywhere in Florida or United States, make phone numbers below and there's a link below. Thank you and have a great day. And watch this video right here. I picked it out just for you.
Thanks. We'll see you on the next video.